So what is the takeaway from PM Modi's official state visit to USA? I believe the biggest takeaway is the co-production of G414 engine for indigenous LCA Mark II, as it will create an industrial R&D ecosystem in India for manufacturing of fighter jet engines. As we know, Kaveri engine being developed by DRDO's GTRE had faced many difficulties as there is no flying test bed in India and we had to rely on Russia for test beds. Now I believe high altitude engine test facility and flying test bed for fighter jet engines will be created in India itself. However, an MOD source expressed ignorance about creation of flying test bed in India when I specifically asked. If created, it will pave way for development and production of subsequent generations of engine in India itself. So it is not just test engine technology transfer, but sharing of trust between America and India, the new AI. Second takeaway in defense sector is MQ-9B Reaper drone. This will give India an unprecedented real-time intelligence gathering capabilities in air, land and maritime domains. However, as usual, controversy follows even before a deal is finalized. In case of procurement of 31 MQ-9B, MOD had to issue a statement following some rumors related to price of UAV. You would recall that the Defense Acquisition Council on 15 June accorded the acceptance of necessity, the AON, for acquisition of 16 Sky Guardian and 15 Sea Guardian high-altitude long-endurance remotely piloted aircraft systems for tri-service operation from the USA under Foreign Military Sale (FMS). Ministry says the AON included the number of UAVs to be procured along with associated equipment, and MOD clarified that the AON noted the estimated cost of $3,072 million provided by the US government. The MQ-9Bs, which will be assembled in India, will enhance the ISR capabilities of India's armed forces across domains. As part of this plan, General Atomics will also establish a comprehensive global MRO facility in India to support of India's long-term goals to boost indigenous defense capabilities. However, price will be negotiated once policy approval of the US government is received. The Ministry of Defense will compare the acquisition cost with the best price offered by General Atomics to other countries. The procurement is in process and would be completed as per the laid down procedures. The Defense Ministry also explains, and I quote, under the FMS route, a letter of request LOR would be sent to the US government where tri-services requirements, details of equipment and terms of the procurement would be included. Based on LOR, the US government and MOD will finalize the letter of offer and acceptance LOA, where details of equipment and terms of the procurement would be negotiated and finalized in accordance with the FMS program and the price and terms offered by the US government and GA to other countries, unquote. The ministry in press release asks not to pay attention to speculative reports in social media with regards to the price and other terms of purchase. MOD says, and I quote, these are uncalled for, have ulterior motives and aimed at derailing the due acquisition process. Price and other terms of conditions of purchase are yet to be finalized and subject to negotiations. In this regard, all are requested not to spread fake news, misinformation which can have serious impact on the morale of the armed forces and adversely impact the acquisition process, unquote. I believe that this issue of high price of the Reaper drone was raised by Congress in a press conference by Pawan Kheda, and thereafter you have heard quoting MOD sources that the Reaper is purchased at least 25% cheaper than what was sold to other countries by the USA. So I believe this is all internal and political, but for the defense of this country, we need state of the art, we need top of the technology, we need the real capabilities, and I believe the Reaper, despite maybe a bit older, has lot to offer because the technology is really unique and proven. So process on crushing the trust before building the trust is started by someone unknown vested interest. If you know who could they be, please do write in the comment box. The next takeaway from PM Modi's US visit, I believe, is the signing of Artemis Accord that will pave way to send an Indian in space, particularly on International Space Station. If an Indian woman goes in space before general election 2024, PM Modi will gain a huge political currency too out of sheer Indian women empowerment. The Artemis Accord will help India to try to fill the space gap with China, which has made great strides in space with own space station and upcoming human moon landing. This will be helpful for both countries in their moon and Mars mission, both India and US. The AI. A big milestone would be created by the defense partnership that is going to be deep. US semiconductor firm Micron's $2.5 billion worth investment will link India with the world's semiconductor chain. Applied Materials semiconductor equipment firm declared $400 million investment in India that will help India develop a semiconductor ecosystem. PM Modi, while addressing Indian diaspora in US, said Google will also open a fintech center and Boeing will infuse $100 million investment in MRO facility and pilots training program. These will increase opportunities for high skill employment, job creation, high tech and innovation. Since the signing of foundational agreements, military cooperation between both the countries, US and India, has increased by manifold. During Modi's visit, both leaders appreciated the strong military to military ties, mutual logistic support, and efforts to streamline implementation of foundational agreements. Modi and Biden, they noted that information sharing and placement of liaison officers in each other's military organizations will spur joint service cooperation. Focus is now to strengthen maritime security cooperation with enhanced underwater domain awareness. Both countries are now spearheading in new defense domains, including space and AI, artificial intelligence, which will enhance capacity building, knowledge and expertise. Ministry of External Affairs said that to accelerate defense industrial cooperation, both the leaders welcomed the adoption of a defense industrial cooperation roadmap, and that roadmap will provide policy direction to defense industries and enable co-production of advanced defense systems and collaborative research, testing and prototyping of projects. Both sides are committed to addressing any regulatory barriers to defense industrial cooperation. The leaders, PM Modi and Biden, also noted the decision of India's Ministry of Defense and US Department of Defense to commence negotiations for concluding a security of supply arrangement and initiate discussions about reciprocal defense procurement agreement. Prime Minister Modi and President Biden also welcomed India's emergence as a hub for maintenance and repair for forward deployed US Navy assets and the conclusion of master ship repair agreements with Indian shipyards. This will allow the US Navy to expedite the contracting process for mid-voyage and emergent repair. As envisaged in the Defense Industrial Roadmap, Both countries agreed to work together for the creation of logistics, repair, and maintenance infrastructure for aircraft and vessels in India. India-US would step up and launch India-US Defence Acceleration Ecosystem INDUX-X as a network of universities, startups, industry, and think tanks. INDUX-X will facilitate joint defence technology innovation and co-production of advanced defence technology between the respective industries of the two countries. The US Department of Defense Space Force has signed its first international cooperative research and development agreement with Indian startup 114 AI and Third Tech. Both companies will work with General Atomics to co-develop components using cutting-edge technologies in artificial intelligence and semiconductors respectively. The next big takeaway from PM Modi's visit is a space cooperation between the two countries, I believe. NASA and ISRO will develop a strategic framework for human spaceflight cooperation by the end of 2023. As part of the space cooperation, NASA will provide advanced training to Indian astronauts at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, with the goal of mounting a joint effort to the International Space Station in 2024. PM Modi and Biden celebrated the delivery of the NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar NISAR satellite to ISRO's U.R. Rao Satellite Center in Bangalore, India, and looked forward to NISAR's 2024 launch from India. Welcoming India's space policy 2023, the leaders called for enhanced commercial collaboration between the US and Indian private sectors in the entire value chain of the space economy, and to address exports controls and facilitate technology transfer. President Biden deeply appreciated India's signing of the Artemis Accords, which advance a common vision of space exploration like Moon and Mars missions for the benefit of all the humankind. The next big takeaway from PM Modi's US visit is the commitment of both nations to a free, open, inclusive, peaceful, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region with respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty and international law. PM Modi and Biden expressed concerns over coercive action and rising tensions and strongly oppose destabilizing or unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force. Both sides emphasize the importance of adherence to international law, particularly as reflected in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, UNCLOS, and the maintenance of freedom of navigation and overflight in addressing challenges to the maritime rules-based order, including in the East and South China Sea. Meanwhile, if you read anything else from PM Modi's US visit, do write your feedback in the comment box. Keep watching National Defense. Please subscribe and share the video. Thanks for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.